He learned judo from.
Oh, hang on one second. Let me get this where it's got both of us in the shot. That should do it. Okay. Looks good. Fantastic. Ron Terry and Lawrence Freeze. So you said Thurl was.
He was a missionary. His family, his mother and father were missionaries
Okay.
over in Japan, and that's where he learned his judo.
Okay. And then who was David Payne?
Now David Payne was a he was in the army.
Okay.
I guess he did a career in the army, and he learned his judo in Japan in Okinawa.
Okay. And actually, before I get on to everybody else's history, since you were the first person I talked to at Kino's, I should ask you, Ron Terry, when and where were you born?
I was born in Akron, Ohio,
Okay.
in 1949.
1949. And where did you go to high school? Football. Did you play any sports?
Football.
Football.
Mm-hmm.
Any military experience?
No.
How did you first get interested in martial arts?
My first instructor was Anthony Clark,
Okay.
and he studied Taekwondo with he studied with I can't think of his name now. I think it was Kim.
Okay.
LG Kim.
Okay.
And so he told us he would teach us. We didn't have to go through all that discipline. He would teach us what he was taught.
Okay.
So I started probably about the 10th grade.
Okay.
I started studying Taekwondo with him, and I think back in about '72, I think that's when I met. I just went down to the Kino Club on the South Street,
Okay.
and I just fell in love. I fell in love with judo when I went in there and watched it, and so I started studying. It was like that was my love, judo, and I did taekwondo with Tony, and judo with Shy.
Okay.
Have you heard the name Calvin Davis?
These are the names I've been acquiring. Calvin Davis. Who is Calvin Davis?
Now he studied he studied he studied karate in the army, and so he studied karate, and then when he met Shy taught him judo, and he taught Shy karate.
Okay. So Calvin Davis was Shy's first karate teacher.
Right. He was Miles Lampkin's karate teacher.
And Miles Lampkin. So Shy and Miles Lampkin weren't student and teacher, they were fellow students?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Right.
And who was Willie Williams?
I don't know him.
Okay. And how did Lawrence Nixon fit into this?
He was Miles Lampkin's first student.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. And then Miguel Moore or Michael Moore?
Michael Moore or Michael Murphy.
On Professor Schei's obituary, it mentioned a Miguel Moore.
Oh, the World Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Okay, he was out of Cleveland, and he met us, and he was another. He was from Puerto Rico, and he did the karate in the army. He made a career out of it. He worked at St. Thomas Hospital, and he met a Dorothy Kidd, and she introduced him to Shy.
And do these names sound familiar? Mr. Odom and Mr. Gates.
Okay, Mr. Odom was director of the Urban League.
Okay.
And that's where Shy started his, that's where they practiced judo at the Urban League. And Mr. Gates, he was, I knew him as a lifeguard at the Urban League.
Okay. And then you were telling me that Thurls. Oh, well, first of all, what were classes like when you were training with Professor Shy? I heard you guys threw pretty hard back before I met you. That I might not have liked the way you threw me if I'd have traveled back in time a little, about 20 years earlier.
But that was the beauty of the art. If somebody threw you hard, can't nobody else throw you. They got somebody that has to throw you harder than that. You know, you get your first hardest punch, your hardest kick, and once you get that, that's your level. That's your measurement. Okay. Somebody else got to do it harder. So, once somebody threw you hard, then you over the initial shock of it, something like that.
And now, lots of people take martial arts. Not everybody gets it. You know, every school you go into on the planet, you'll see that some people are better than others.
Right.
And I've noticed that every time I've met a teacher who has a lot of long-time students, I've noticed that one teacher has more expertise in one area and less in this, and vice versa, as I do myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I've noticed that the greatest judo quality I saw in Professor Shy was his softness. That he could just grab my gi with 2 fingers and turn gently, and away it would pin me.
Mm-hmm.
I notice all of his students are good, but not all of them have that softness, but you do. Was there anything about your training why you were able to acquire this, what I call the looseness, the relaxation that so many people struggle with? What was it about you that you were able to get?
That was my nature.
Okay.
That was my nature.
Okay. Good for you. I'm glad you did.
I didn't have that violence.
Okay.
You know, it's like a boxer.
Yeah.
They was born in the ghetto and they had to fight every day. Well, I didn't have to fight. I didn't have to fight when I was growing up.
Okay.
So I understood that gentleness. I remember when I go to punch, I kind of would open. I would lose that violence. I didn't have that violent nature.
It sounds like you might be a nice guy.
Yeah, I was a nice guy.
I remember Bob King calling me a nice guy. Ah, nice guy. Because I treat people safely and gently.
But it was, you know, like I was talking to one of my young students, and he said we used to throw them hard. He said, "Oh no, here they come." Said we didn't have no mercy with them because we knew when we took them to a tournament, them kids weren't gonna throw them like that. school.
What would you say were the major differences between Eugene and James? I always feel cheated. I got to shake hands with James Shy, but I never had the conversations with him that I was able to have with his brother, because of Eugene Shy. You could go to his house and he was just real open, and James Shy was more of a silent type, and he always struck me as someone who had very profound thoughts. Your interaction, how would you describe the two of them as different and the same?
They, as you say, night and day.
Yeah.
One was left-handed and the other was right-handed.
James was left-handed. James threw left side, but could throw right.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, Shy had that gentleness, but James, he shoot you.
Snap it.
No, he would shoot you.
Okay.
He'd shoot you with a gun. He would, he just had Eugene Shy. He was just that gentle nature, but James, he didn't have it. Shy would have to Eugene would have to calm him down because he was a hot head.
I heard about him taking a knife away from somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was pretty tough.
Yeah, James was in the army, and Eugene wasn't. So James had that army nature to him.
And when you first started training there, it appears that unlike other teachers who have people come and go, Professor Shy had a core group of longtime students. Yourself, Professors Bob King, Janet Scobie, Mike McGrady, McCrae, just a group of people who weren't just there for a couple of years, but were there for 20 or 30 years, long-time people. Can you tell me a few more of these names that I might be missing from this group that have been around so long? Who were your teachers on South Street? Who taught the classes?
His name was Michael Sewell.
Sewell?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
John Haslam. I don't know if you ever met John Haslam.
Name sounds familiar.
You met Lynn. Lynn was his brother.
Lynn Haslam. Okay. And were they students of Shy? Or?
Yeah.
Okay. So they learned from them and then they passed it on.
So Lynn Haslam, that name doesn't sound familiar?
It does. I don't remember where we went to a few places with Professor Shy. I can't remember who Lynn is.
We had I studied with John Howe. So you would like to interview Michael McGrady?
Yeah, I've stopped by his house before and said since he's moved back, I said hello to him.
Okay.
Yeah. And he said that Nixon had stopped by and talked to him, and this is before I got the idea. I just, I've been tempted to knock on doors before.
Mm-hmm.
You know how some of the female people are real secretive.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of intuitively knew not to. It's just at the time, but things have just seemed a little more relaxed. A lot of older teachers have passed away, and their students are going, "Oh my gosh, our histories. We don't know our own history."
Mm-hmm.
So people seem to open up a little bit more, and it felt like the right time. My first teacher passed, Dave Shank, and towards the end I got to know him a little bit. We weren't so much just teacher and student. We were people who could talk, but I don't have a single picture with him.
Mm-hmm.
I have 2 pictures of me with Shy, and I have other teachers I've known who have passed away or who I'm unable to study with, and I want to collect this and gather this now.
So I can introduce you to Calvin Davis.
I would love to. Yeah, that'd be very cool.
So I'll get in touch with him and see.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna. The other people associated with Professor Shy and Kino's that I was going to talk to. Automatically off the top of my head, there's a group of about 5 names that all have to be included together, no one above the others, but yourself, Bob King, Mike McGrady, Janet Scobie.
Have you ran into Janet yet?
I saw her once at Walmart, and we were on friendly terms. We spoke. I haven't seen her for 2 years since that one time.
Mm-hmm.
But I think she would sit down and just tell me, basically, I just want to know, where you were born, how you got into the arts, how you met Professor Shai, your journey towards judo, and then whatever happens to come out in the course of talking, just to provide some. Shai died, and I feel like a lot of people forgot about it, or just like moved on, and it kind of bummed me out. He did so much,
Mm-hmm.
and like I don't hear his name mentioned it anymore, and that's one of the reasons I want to do this. So, I never forgot him. I never forgot what he gave me, not just judo wise, but through conversation and through who he was. So a little collection of this. I can't make all of the interviewing public because some people just badmouth the crap out of others. And I'm not going to show that stuff really, but I'll show like the positive stuff like this,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll put it on YouTube so that people can access it publicly. And
Okay.
the people whose stuff I can't show, I will write down the portions I can and make that part available, so there's some kind of record. But it was wonderful after just a couple interviews to see how interconnected everything was. I didn't realize when I went to Shai, we were already related somehow through Chicoine and that thorough group. There's and now that I'm with Pat Hickey, that I'm already related to him before I've met him. I feel like all martial artists are my family.
So you go to Pat's school in stuff?
Yeah, I go there on Monday nights and do judo with him.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so you were also telling me about Thurl McClanahan and his parents being a missionary
Mm-hmm.
in Japan. That's where he learned his karate.
Yeah.
Okay. And where was he teaching? How did the Shais meet Thurl?
I think through George Anderson or
Oh, okay.
I think.
Okay.
I think they was all students. Like Anderson was a student. At the same time, Shai was studying. The judo was headquartered in Detroit.
I've heard Professor Shai mention several trips to Detroit.
Mm-hmm. And that's where I think the Japanese